It was just one of those things where there was too much on the line because they did record it for Spike TV. You did have the Nevada State Athletic Commission involved. You don't mess around with the government. We all know that. And when it comes to commissions, if you screw around with them, you put yourself in a lot of danger. Not only Tito Ortiz, he could have got suspended from all this. The UFC could have paid a hefty penalty for this because you're wasting the commission's time. First of all, to sanction the fight, it was difficult because Dana White, it's a mismatch. First of all, Dana White versus Tito Ortiz is an obvious mismatch. So, I mean, Tito kind of clears the air in this interview.
All right, so here it is. Showdown Joe in conversation with Tito Ortiz.
Tito, how you doing tonight?
Good, my man. Thank you for having on the show. I appreciate it.
Really appreciate you coming on. We're doing mixed martial arts on the Fan 90 right now, so I got some questions to ask you. Everyone is talking about the situation with Dana White, the Spike TV show. Where was Tito Ortiz? Give us a little breakdown as to how that happened and what happened. Where was Tito in the end?
Well, actually, I think I got to correct you. I think it was more of the Dana White show more than anything. You know, it really came down to when I first negotiated my contract, me and Dana just getting a sparring match, and that was it. And then it started coming about, and we started talking about it, and people started asking questions about it, and then it got really big all of a sudden. A lot of people were interested into it, and I had an idea. I was like, you know what? Hey, Dana, why don't we come up with an idea of possibly putting it on pay-per-view or putting it on DVDs or something like that, and, you know, maybe we could get some type of revenue running out of it.
Of course, yeah, sure.
I don't know. It sounds like a pretty good idea. I mean, let me just ask around and see what happens. So a month or so goes by, and then Dana comes back to me and he tells me, actually, Spike TV was very, very interested about doing this. I go, really? They said, yeah, they want to do an hour-long preview of the fight, and then we're going to possibly put it on pay-per-view or on UFCTito and make a show out of it. So all of a sudden I say, wow, there's a part of revenue be coming here, and there's something possibly in it for me. And when me and Dana first spoke on this whole fight thing of it possibly going to DVD, that would go on a 50% deal on it. I get 50% of it, and he gets the other 50% of it. Mm-hmm. And the fight started getting in the ball, started rolling. Craig Plegian, actually one of the Spike Television producers,
yep.
UFC, actually came to me and he says, all right, well, we're going to do it March 24th. I said, awesome, sounds good. I started training down here in California, and I just started getting ready for the fight and so forth. And then it was probably about 2.5 weeks out from the fight. And then, of course, Jenna, my girlfriend, she asked me that, was there ever a contract put in place for this? And I go, no. And then I started thinking, I'm like, wow, I mean, every one of all my other bouts I've ever fought, we always had a bout agreement before I fought. And for this fight, I had to get my blood work done, my eye exam done, all my physical work, same as a professional fight. I had to go through the athletic commission to get my boxer's permit, and so it was just like a real fight to me. And when it came about, and I told Dan, I go, well, is there a contract and so forth in place? And he says, well, I'm actually going to be on the road for the next few days, so Craig's going to give you guys a call. And I said, well, actually, Jenna's helped me out a little bit, so have him call Jenna because I was training. Jenna talked to Craig and was telling him, okay, well, since it's Tito's idea, give him executive production rights or some type of notice, and what's going to happen with the money that is made from it. And he's like, well, I don't know these answers for you. Let me talk to Dana, and we'll find out about it. Well, a week later, this was about a week prior to the fight, Craig calls back and says, we can't give you any of it. Sorry, we're not going to give Tito no production rights. Nothing. He's not going to get cut into pretty much nothing at all.
Showdown Joe here with UFC superstar Tito, the Huntington Beach bad boy Ortiz. Has there been any backlash, or what kind of backlash have you felt from, be it the fans or from other fighters in general, or anything even from the Nevada State Athletic Commission? Did anything fall back on your lap?
You know, from the fans, a lot of my fans are really disgusted about it, and I got to apologize to them for sitting up for that hour and a half of the Dana show. And I sat up for that hour and a half myself, wondering what was going to happen, and just hearing the lies he was saying, man. It was just not telling the athletic commission that I called him and told him that there was no contract in place, so the fight shouldn't be happening. He never told anybody anything. He kept it to himself, and it was really, really bad because it's hard for my fans to see that. I've been in the UFC for 10 years, and I'm a warrior, man. I've been in the octagon over 20 times, and, you know, I fought the toughest in the world, and it's just one of those things for them to hinder my image the way they did, or the way Dana did. It really hurts a lot, you know. I've done a lot for the company, and they've done a lot for me. So I expected this being a team thing, and it seems like it's not. It seems like Dana is just, I guess you can say, he's trying to hold me down. And but I've had a lot of positive things from a lot of the fighters, man. A lot of fighters at Tito, man, thanks for sticking up for stuff like that. I think you're going to help us out a lot as fighters, as in general, you know, possibly us getting paid more money. I mean, maybe the UFC start recognizing us as commodities to them and not just fighters. So you know, there's a lot of things that I'm working for, not just for myself, but for the fans themselves, for the fighters themselves too, for their future in my mind.
Let's talk about your next fight versus Rashad Evans. When I first heard about this fight, I was a little, you know, my eyebrows kind of went up saying, should Rashad really be in there with Tito Ortiz? Do you think Rashad deserves to be in there with you? Is this a fight that you had to take? Is it one of those things that, you know, will get you a title shot again? Do you want that title shot? Do you want to hit Pride? So many questions to ask about this fight.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a little bit of everything, you know. I really don't have a choice on who I fight. UFC picked my guys who I fight, and that's who they're expecting to fight. And I've never said really no, besides when I fought Chuck Liddell the first time when we had a disagreement, a friendship, and so forth. And it was all about money, man. It was all about making sure that we got paid the right amount of money. And, you know, Chuck came up to me and thanked me that I held out for that because it did help him in the long run. And it's just things like that the fighters got to understand, you know. I'm paying for these things myself, man. Where I got to go out and do seminars and do motivational speeches and doing club appearances like that just to make extra money when I was going through negotiation, because I was getting paid for UFC because I stuck out for what I believed in, and that's being a businessman and being a fighter and trying to fight for what I thought was mine, and that was my likeness and image that I fought for, and I ended up winning it in the long run. You know, I'm one of the only UFC fighters that own my image and likeness. No one else owns it, and I think other fighters that are coming up should fight for those things because they've worked so hard to get where they are right now, doing the training, doing the interviews, and pumping their fights up, and that's something that I've really stuck my mind to and really trying to achieve is the hype of the fight. So when I get in there against someone who I'm fighting, there's aggression there, and there's a build, and there's animosity towards each other, and what the fans like to watch the fight when it happens, it just builds that much more. And that's what I think that us as fighters really have to work for.
Well, I mean, I completely agree with you, and it makes total sense. Once again, Showdown Joe here with Tito Ortiz, UFC future Hall of Famer, guaranteed about that. Real quick, I got a minute here, Tito. I'm just thinking, what is your motivation to get in the ring with Rashad? What benefit are you going to have by beating this guy? Be it, I mean, you're looking for a quick fight, anything happens, or you're looking to beat him down to prove a point? What is Tito Ortiz's motivation in this fight?
You know, my motivation is to get another title shot, man. My last fight, you know, I thought it was stopped a little prematurely. Liddell fought an awesome fight, and the referee almost did his job, you know. When there was 7 to 9 unanswered blows to my forearm and not my head, and they stopped the fight for that, you know, I look at that fight, and I was disgusted by it. And so my motivation completely is to get another title shot and to get in the octagon again with Chuck Liddell. I'm not afraid of him, man. I'm willing to step in there and to make sure that my fans are proud of me as a fighter. Rashad is an undefeated fighter. Coming down from heavyweight, he's fought bigger, man. He's knocked out his last 2 opponents, so he's a dangerous fighter, and he's a really good fighter. But has he been in big fights when he steps in the octagon with me? When I'm bouncing in front of him across the octagon and there's 15,000 fans screaming and multi-millions watching on pay-per-view, is he going to handle the pressure? Is he going to show up when lights come on? And, you know, I'm going to try to push the tempo on him. You know, I know Rashad comes in good shape, and I'm going to come in great shape. And, you know, to me, it's just getting another title shot.
Tito, I wish we had more time. I really appreciate you coming on the air, joining the Showdown, joining the Fan 590 as we bring mixed martial arts to the Greater Toronto area. Thank you very much for coming on, my man.